When I decided to become different, I had to learn what different looked like for me. Because different appears differently to everybody, and everyone don't have the same different as I thought. And it's understanding that when you start to go through the process that you are going through, understand that you can grow through it if you continue to reinvent yourself. Because as you are reinventing yourself, you're getting better. You're getting better. It's the challenge that takes so long to get better and to show us that we're doing something right. Reinventing yourself, it takes a lot. Just can say one day I'm gonna be different. One day I'm gonna chase my dreams. One day it's gonna come. What I learned is that one day will never come unless you make today the day. Because tomorrow is the best day. Next week I will start. Next year I will start. Recently I learned that the what is it called? The New Year's resolution. I used to have a New Year's resolution, and it's November, almost December, about to be January. So it's the end of the year. I used to always wonder, why is it called New Year's resolution? Why do you have to wait a year to have new goals to accomplish? Why do you have to wait a year for you to really be someone different? So I used to always question it. Like I used to always have like a feeling behind why do people just wait for that? But I never said anything about it because I didn't know what feeling I was feeling and the importance behind it. And so I think last year or the year before last, when I got out the Marine Corps, it taught me that if you wait 12 months to set New Year goals, you just wasted 12 months to set a New Year goal. Here's what I mean. If you're waiting 12 months to even try something new, or try something different, or try a way to challenge yourself, you're wasting time because time is just moved. If you wasted 365 days, if you wasted 52 weeks, you wasted it because you're waiting until next year. I didn't fully understand that. I'm like, why do people just wait? Well, why? I don't want to wait for my goals. I don't want to wait for that. It didn't make sense to me. So I'm thinking, why can't you actually achieve your goals this year? It wasn't until I started to fully understand that to challenge yourself, you have to be willing to start today. Because if you start today, you can learn so much more information than you can ever imagine. And when you start learning it, you see the importance of starting. I'm gonna read the comments right quick. Lip Check said, that's what I'm talking about. Why wait? Why wait on something new? You have a goal. You can be different. What I learned over time is that as I got older, I stopped dreaming. Because as a kid, I was dreaming a lot. I used to dream of becoming an NFL player. I used to dream of playing pro. I used to dream of playing football. It was unfortunate that my dream stopped at high school and I stopped dreaming. Because when I tore my ACL, I had to go through a process that I was never expecting to go through. All these different games, it really changed. It really gave me a different perspective. All these football games that I played in my entire life, the game that I get injured is the game where I do it to myself. I overran the play. What that means, I overran the person who had the football. And then when I tried to stop, my knee just popped. When my knee popped, and I got help to the table, the trainer's table, and he grabbed my leg and he shook it twice. He said, yup, it's your ACL. I'm thinking, how did I do it to myself? It didn't make no sense on how I did it. And as I got older, I started to recognize why. It wasn't intentional or nothing like that. It was the fact that I just didn't stay to the basics. Tried to be fancy. I tried to get the groove back. But when I tried to get the groove back, I tore my ACL. To reinvent yourself, you have to be willing to go through a process. It's gonna destroy your confidence. It's gonna force you to rebuild it. And what I learned during that time is that having life happen to you. There's a saying that say life be life. I don't know what that means. Life be happening, because when it happens to you, you're not the only one that's experiencing this. What matters, what you see is that you're the only one that's going. When I tore my ACL, I was the only person who tore my ACL, so I was lonely. When I tore my ACL, I was the only one going to rehab, so I felt lonely. When I was going to rehab, I wasn't aware that I was just going with the motion. I didn't have the energy for it. And over time, I started to learn the importance behind reinventing yourself. Everything that you do, everything that you experience, everything that you go through, you have to be willing to learn from every single thing that you go through. Because in order to discover more about yourself, you have to be willing to look at yourself and where you are at. Reason why I say that I'm not the same person is because I just changed. Not in a bad way. I changed because I wanted to become better. To become better, you have to change, because if you're doing the same thing day in and day out, how do you get better? How do you even improve? How do you discover more about yourself? You can only discover yourself when you gave yourself a chance to discover yourself. Because you have to be willing to learn. Reinventing yourself doesn't happen overnight. The people who created this remote didn't create it off of one opportunity, didn't create it off of one thing. Like, they probably had multiple ways to fix this remote. As simple as it is, it's a button that turns off light. Hello. It's supposed to be more dramatic. It's a button that turns off lights. Hello. It's a button that turns off lights. Just like it's a button that turns it back on. Many times in life, you have to be willing to turn your light back on to reinvent yourself, because once you reinvent yourself, now you discover more about the person that you would like to become. It's a challenge to challenge yourself, and when you start pushing yourself, you start learning yourself, because when you recognize how and where you would like to go, reinventing yourself comes from looking at yourself. If you don't look at yourself, how can you get better? If you don't see yourself, how can you improve? If you don't recognize who you are and where you would like to go, how do you discover the dreams that you would like to have for yourself? There's a thing that you have to go through, that everyone has to go through. Everyone has to be willing to reinvent themselves, to see themselves differently, because when you start to see yourself differently, you start to become someone different. Shannon Sharp said that he's the same kid that he was growing up in his hometown, growing up in his small hometown, in his house with his grandparents. He said he's the same person. One day I'm like, you can't be the same person because your status is not the same. When I left my hometown, Little Rock, Arkansas, which is a small town, I left the town and I became someone different, because I had to learn how to reinvent myself. Because if I wanted to become someone different, I had to learn what different looks like to me. If you want to become different, you have to learn what different looks like to you. Because being different appears differently across everyone that you come in contact with. Excuse me. It matters where you are at today. It matters where you have been, and it also matters where you are going. Because if you stop reinventing yourself, if you stop improving, if you stop growing, how do you become someone that has reinvented themselves? Excuse me. It doesn't happen overnight. What happens is that you have to be willing to do the work every single day. Because when you do the work every single day, you're able to become someone different, because you're challenging yourself, you're pushing yourself, and you're learning more about the path that you are on. This is so incredible. This is so important. This is so vital. Because to become someone different, you have to understand that different takes work. In order to become someone different, you have to understand that different takes time. In order to become someone different takes effort. And when you start to put effort into yourself, now you are reinventing yourself, because you're creating new habits, you're creating new opportunities, and you're creating a chance based off you starting today. Don't be afraid to reinvent yourself. Don't be afraid to challenge yourself. And don't be afraid to learn more about where you are going, because the day you start to learn more about where you are going is the day you have reinvented yourself. And if you got value from this, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and let me know in the comments your biggest takeaway on the importance of reinventing yourself, and how you are going to start reinventing yourself so you can start accomplishing the goals that you have in mind. Again, I appreciate y'all for watching. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and if you really got value from this, watch additional videos.